Is this the dagger?
Lillard, long-range three. It's good! At the buzzer! Damian Lillard! Are you kidding me?
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Baller Nation 6. I'm your host, Yan Perron. In today's video, I will be discussing the real threats to get to the Eastern Conference Finals right now as we sit here in early December. There are 5 teams in the Eastern Conference that I think have a real possibility of getting to the Eastern Conference Finals. Really, how I class the Eastern Conference right now, I see it as the top 5. There are 5 really solid teams in there. Then just outside the top 5, I've got the Indiana Pacers. They're just in a class of their own. Really talented team, but really, even if they do get Victor Oladipo back, I can't really see them being a threat at all in the Eastern Conference. I can see them winning a round, but I can't see them getting to the Eastern Conference Finals. And then after the Indiana Pacers, then you get into the mediocre teams, the teams like the Brooklyn Nets. And the Brooklyn Nets could move into the Pacers tier. They could if Kyrie can come back and play good. Yeah, but so really the Pacers, the Nets could get into that tier. Just right now they're not in that tier. And then after of course the Pacers and Nets, then we get into the mediocre teams. We get into the teams like the Detroit Pistons, the Charlotte Hornets, the Orlando Magic, and then it gets into the bad teams, the Bulls, the Hawks, the Knicks. The Wizards as well. I think I've covered all the teams there. But anyway, I'm just gonna be focusing solely on the top 5 teams in the Eastern Conference, and by process of elimination, and just by looking at the standings, it's pretty obvious which teams I'm talking about. I'm talking about the Toronto Raptors, the Philadelphia 76ers, the Milwaukee Bucks, the Miami Heat, and the Boston Celtics. All right. I'm going to be going over which 2 teams, or I'm going to be going over what I've been liking out of these teams, what I don't like about these teams, and then of course I'll be giving you which 2 teams I think will be in the Eastern Conference Finals just based off what I've seen so far in the early NBA season. I'll start at the top. I'll start with the Milwaukee Bucks. Statistically speaking, they are the best team in the Eastern Conference. They definitely have an argument right now to be the best team in the entire NBA. Just based off the record alone, and based off the fact that they've got the best player in the Eastern Conference, and once again, arguably the best player in the entire NBA, in Giannis Antetokounmpo. And Giannis, he's following up his MVP season with yet another MVP caliber season. Really, it would not come to surprise to me at all if he gets voted in to back-to-back MVPs. I would not be surprised. I don't think he should have won it last year, but again, I've said it so many times. It doesn't really matter though. James Harden, I can't see James Harden winning the MVP this year, so I do think Giannis will win MVP this year. Anyway, they've got the MVP in Giannis Antetokounmpo. Then of course you look at the rest of the team, and the rest of the team is just once again loaded with talent top to bottom. Their coach, Mike Budenholzer, once again he's coming off being the coach of the year. I wouldn't even be surprised if he wins it again. I think he'll be a finalist again this year, Mike Budenholzer. Obviously, guys like Nick Nurse and Frank Vogel, the Lakers, they're going to be in there. But Mike Budenholzer, for me, so far, he's definitely going to be up there in the conversation for Coach of the Year. So we've already established that the Bucks have arguably the best player in the NBA and arguably the best coach in the NBA. And then you just look at the rest of the roster and you just wonder, well, really, I can't. Like, they're giving me no reason not to believe in the Milwaukee Bucks. So I'm just going to be clear. I'm just going to be straight up with you guys. The Milwaukee Bucks right now are the best team in the Eastern Conference. You look at the standings, you look at the players they have on the team, and you just watch the basketball games, and you can tell, okay, the road to the NBA Finals in the Eastern Conference goes through Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So the Bucks right now, they're the first team that I see in the Eastern Conference Finals, and really I think that they're going to have home court advantage throughout the playoffs. I was wrong about the Bucks before the season started. I thought the Bucks would be, a little lower in the standings. And again, it's an early season. They say the season doesn't start till Christmas. Well, say what you will, but the Bucks so far are looking like they're the best team in the Eastern Conference. So I've got the Bucks at number 1, and I think that they will be one of the 2 teams in the Eastern Conference Finals. I'm going to switch gears now to the Philadelphia 76ers. The 76ers at the beginning of the year, before the year started, they were my pick to come out of the Eastern Conference. They're my pick to be in the NBA Finals against the LA Lakers. So far, I can't see that happening. During the early part of the season, I could. But then Joel Embiid got suspended with the Karl-Anthony Towns situation, and since he's come back, really the 76ers just haven't been as impressive as I thought they would be. Guys like Ben Simmons, really, there's been more and more talk about how the 76ers need to get rid of Ben Simmons if they want to have any hope at all to win the NBA championship, and not just, to say nothing of getting out of the Eastern Conference Finals. Just the Philadelphia 76ers need to get rid of Ben Simmons. It'd be nice if he could shoot. He clearly can't. There are definitely better fits for the 76ers than Ben Simmons. It's just really hard to picture any other point guard in Philadelphia right now other than Ben Simmons, because really, other than Ben Simmons, the list of good point guards that Philadelphia has had is not a long one. It's not a long one, really, in this century even. Obviously, you look way back at Allen Iverson and all those guys, but it's been a minute. And Ben Simmons right now seems like he's the most talented one Philadelphia's had in quite a while. But at the Philadelphia 76ers coming into the season, I thought that for sure that they would be one of the two teams in the Eastern Conference Finals. And this year, I don't think that they will be one. I think they're a second round exit to either Milwaukee, to Boston, to Toronto, or even Miami. Speaking of Miami, the Miami Heat have been, for me, the most surprising team so far this year. They've really shocked not only myself, but I think everybody around the NBA, because, well, clearly how I looked at it was, okay, they have Jimmy Butler, and no other real big names that people recognize as being star players. And I guess other than Butler, they don't really have another star. But when you've got a guy like Bam Adebayo in the middle, and then just the rookies like Tyler Hero and Kendrick Nunn are playing, these guys are just balling out. They're playing better than I think anybody really expected them to play. And they still have a really good. They have great talent around them. Derrick Jones Jr., people who don't get enough attention, like Justice Winslow, Goran Dragic. The Miami Heat are a really deep team in the NBA, and I think that once again, like Philadelphia, they're talented, but they're a second round out. They're a second round out. I can't see them beating any of the other four teams that I'm talking about today in this video. I can't see them beating any of those teams in a playoff series. Maybe if they get lucky, I could see them possibly beating a Toronto, possibly beating a Philadelphia. But at this point in the season, for me, they are a second round out. And a second or first round out, of course, because I'm talking about 5 teams. One of these 5 teams are going to be eliminated in the first round. The Eastern Conference playoffs this year is going to be great. I can't wait for the Eastern Conference playoffs this year. Much like the playoffs last year, this year's Eastern Conference playoffs are going to be ecstatic all the way through. 2 teams left that I still haven't talked about: the Toronto Raptors and the Boston Celtics. I mentioned bench depth with the Miami Heat. Now let's talk about the team with the deepest bench in the NBA right now, or deepest bench in the Eastern Conference. I'm not even going to bring up the LA Clippers because they're just in a realm of their own when you bring up bench depth. So the Toronto Raptors, for me, they have the best bench in the Eastern Conference. And you couple that with the play of Pascal Siakam, who recently, in a poll by the media, came out as he was in 5th place in the MVP voting currently, which is just spectacular. Pascal Siakam won Most Improved Player last year. He could go back-to-back Most Improved Player this year, which would just be ridiculous. I couldn't, but the way he's playing, in a lot of other years, if guys like Andrew Wiggins wasn't doing what he's doing and Devontae Graham wasn't doing what he's doing, Pascal Siakam would be the front runner right now for the Most Improved Player, which would just be completely and utterly ridiculous. Anyway, the Toronto Raptors, for me, they are, again, a first or second round out. I would say that out of the 5 teams I've mentioned, I think Miami would be the weakest team. So if I had to pick one team to go out in the first round, it'd be the Miami Heat. I'd say Miami's a first round out. I'd say Toronto's a first round out, and I'd say Philadelphia's a first round, or I'd say Toronto and Philadelphia are second round outs. with Miami being the first round out. But Toronto, I've really been impressed with what they're doing. I did not expect this at all. And seeing guys like Fred VanVleet step up, Kyle Lowry before his injury, the way he was playing, Marc Gasol, Serge Ibaka, I mean, these guys, the big men in the middle are playing great. They got another guy from Montreal, Boucher, who's once again playing really I did not expect to see this out of any of these guys. I mean, Ibaka and Gasol, yes, but Boucher, not at all. The way that VanVleet's been playing, not at all. Even guys like Norman Powell and Rondae Hollis-Jefferson, again, the bench depth within the Toronto Raptors is great. I mean, they can go 10 deep on any given night, and that, at the end of the day, I think is their biggest advantage in the Eastern Conference right now. So, finally now to the second team that I can see going to the Eastern Conference Finals to play the Milwaukee Bucks are the Boston Celtics. The Celtics have really impressed me a lot. I'm not going to say that, because coming into the year I did say that they were going to finish with the second best seed in the Eastern Conference. I said that they were going to finish ahead of Milwaukee in the Eastern Conference in the Eastern Conference standings. That I don't think will happen, but Boston's really been impressing a lot of people, and guys like Jason Tatum have really stepped up in big ways. Marcus Smart, he's an early candidate for Defensive Player of the Year. You look at Kemba Walker, who's already proven to be a much better fit for the Celtics than Kyrie Irving ever was. Brad Stevens is finally getting his name back in the news. You realize, again, the problem with the Celtics was Kyrie Irving. As crazy as that may sound, it's just the truth. It's the fact of the matter is that Kyrie Irving was the ultimate problem in Boston. You realize when Kyrie was there last year, he was leading the way. It was all about Kyrie. We didn't really get to see a lot of Jason Tatum. Brad Stevens was talked about as being the best coach in the NBA until Kyrie Irving came back, and then all of a sudden we don't even talk about Brad Stevens for an entire year. Now we look back and we're like, yo, Brad Stevens, he's a good coach, because we were watching what the Boston Celtics were doing. They had, I think it was a 9-10 game win streak at one point this year. The Boston Celtics have really been, they've been very impressive for me so far this year, and of course it stems from the addition of Kemba Walker. Gordon Hayward, once again, before his injury, Gordon Hayward was playing great, and I still see a lot of greatness coming from Gordon Hayward. I can't wait for the playoffs, especially for this team, because I think that they can surprise a lot of people, and I think that at the end of the day, they are a team that can take down the Philadelphia 76ers or the Toronto Raptors or the Miami Heat in the Eastern Conference playoffs. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning into this video. There you have it. At this moment in time, on December the 4th, 2019, I'm predicting the Boston Celtics playing the Milwaukee Bucks in the Eastern Conference Finals right now. And again, this is just based off what I've been seeing. Milwaukee, of course, with Giannis, the best player in the Eastern Conference. He's playing like he's the best player in the NBA. And the Boston Celtics, just more of a team, just the way the team's playing, and really a new big three that's been transpiring between Tatum, between Kemba, and of course between Gordon Hayward, and one of the best defensive teams in the NBA. Thing with Boston, they need to add in a big man. There are plenty of big men that they can trade for right now, given some of the players that they do have, some of the young assets that they do have. There are plenty of big men that you just need a mediocre big man. You just need like an upgrade from Enes Kanter, and the Celtics will be set for a Eastern Conference playoff run. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see y'all later. Peace out.